Have you ever counted calories? If not, I'm here to tell you that you need to. And here's why. Well, not here's why yet. We're going to dive into that in this episode. So strap in, get ready for episode 179. Let's go.
The future of fitness.
How do you gain muscle mass?
Fitness is not complicated. It's simple when you break it down.
There's so much information out there.
No fads, no diets, just plain simple habits.
You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast.
Hey, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brian Parody, and I will be your host today. And before we dive into today's content, if you have not checked out our YouTube channel, then I don't know what you're waiting for. Head on over to youtube.com/bones to bulk. I'm getting close to 400 videos on there. Insane. And I promise you, I probably have a video on any single exercise or workout or nutritional topic you can think of and more. So head on over there, check it out, subscribe to the channel. I would be greatly appreciative of that. With that being said, let's dive in. So when it comes to counting calories, that may seem daunting. It may seem like something that you just do not want to take the time to do because, let's face it, it sounds freaking terrible, right? Like, who wants to track on a phone every single time you eat and punch all this stuff in? And, ignorance is bliss sometimes. I don't want to know how many calories is in that donut or that cinnamon roll or that slice of pizza or hamburger or whatever it is. But you really will not get a firm grasp on what is in your food, on what you're putting in your body until you count calories. Now, I work with a lot of clients. Shameless plug here. If you are looking for one-on-one training, head on over to bonestobulk.com and you can find out more about that, or hit me up on any social media platform. But with the clients that I work with, oftentimes we'll be working through either a weight loss journey or a weight gain journey, and 9 times out of 10, when those goals are not being met as quickly as the client wants, or if they are maybe struggling one week, 9 times out of 10, the issue comes down to the calories. Tracking the calories in, knowing how much they're eating in a day, and miscalculating. And that's nobody's fault. It's not that, this isn't a finger-pointing thing by any means. It's very hard to really dive into tracking calories well when you've never done it before. Because, we've gone our whole life and we've just eaten without giving it a second thought. And now all of a sudden we're trying to pay attention to everything and we're trying to measure everything and, weigh everything and really dive into the details. And it can be overwhelming. I get it. It's a lot to it. But it's so necessary. So necessary. And the reason being is because when we really dissect our food, you are going to be shocked at what's in it. Absolutely shocked. Now, if you're new to the whole calorie counting game, and are like, how do calories even work? How do you read a nutrition label? How do they factor in how many calories are in a product? Well, let's take a container of Greek yogurt. It's 100 calories, at least the ones I use. They vary in range, but 100 calories, 15 grams of protein. Now, for every gram of protein, there's 4 calories. For every gram of carbohydrate, there's 4 calories. And for every gram of fat, there are 9 calories. So, being that there's 15 grams of protein in this 100 calorie yogurt cup, that means there are 60 calories that come from protein. There's 4 calories per gram of protein, and if there's 15 grams of protein, it comes to 60 calories of protein. Now, there's still 40 calories left in this thing. So where do the rest come from? There's some carbohydrates in it and there's some fat in it, and those make up the remaining calories that are in this Greek yogurt cup. Often when I talk about, a clean protein, what you want to look for is how much of the calories come from protein. For example, if a scoop of protein says that it's 200 calories, but there's only 20 grams of protein, that means there's more other stuff in it than there is protein, because that means only 80 calories of that 200 are coming from protein, and they put a lot of other filler stuff in it. So that's why it's so important to really understand what you're putting in your body, what calories are in things, how much you're consuming. And I'm not saying that you have to deep dive your macros right away, because that can definitely be overwhelming. I do recommend that you hit a minimum amount of protein per day. Personally, I think 1 gram per pound of body weight for most people. Now, that doesn't apply across the board, but for most people, 1 gram per pound of body weight is a great place to start, and then the rest comes from healthy carbohydrates and healthy fats. Now, the big thing with calculating calories is how many. Well, when you go to these apps, and there's a ton of them out there, there's MyFitnessPal, I think Calorie Counter Pal is the iOS one. There's Lose It. There's the Fitbit app. If you have an Apple Watch, you can use the app that comes with it to track calories. Like, there's a lot of different ones out there, but they're all pretty much the same. You basically put in your weight, your height, your age, your activity level, and all that, and it calculates how many calories you should be consuming. Now, I'm going to tell you that these apps can be very deceiving. For example, let's say you are trying to lose weight, and so you're eating, let's say, 1,800 calories a day. Okay, you're eating 1,800 calories, you're trying to lose weight, but you put in an hour workout, and all of a sudden, this little app tells you, oh, you can now eat 500 more calories, so you could eat 2,300 calories. Well, that's not really the way you want to factor it. I know it says it, but 9 times out of 10, it's wrong, because chances are what's going to happen is you're going to then push your calories up, not into a deficit anymore, but you're going to be either maintenance level or in an excess, and then you're not going to lose weight, and you're going to be frustrated because you're like, I counted calories and it didn't work. Well, yeah, but you've got to make sure that your number is correct. So do not listen to these apps that tell you, oh, you earned 500 extra calories because you got in 10,000 steps, or you earned 500 extra calories because you put in a workout. Like, don't listen to that crap. Go off of the base number of whether it's 1,800 or whatever it tells you with no activity level. And I promise you, you're going to see results. Another good thing about calorie counter apps is that they pretty much remember what you eat on a day-to-day basis. So it gets to the point where you have this list of recently used items that is ever growing, and usually you can just click on them and it remembers, the measurement that you took and everything from the previous day. So you don't have to every time type in, 4 ounces of chicken breast and a half a cup of green beans and a half a tablespoon of butter. You can just click on them because they're going to be stored in that memory. Now, measuring is important. Don't try to eyeball stuff. That's really where you can get into trouble, because you can be like, oh yeah, this looks like a quarter cup of almonds, and just dump it in your hand, and it turns out you had a half a cup, and you're doing that twice a day, and in reality, you're eating around 340 more calories than you should be just from that one thing. Because yeah, they're like, tree nuts are calorie dense, let me tell you. So you've got to measure. Get some measuring spoons, get some measuring cups, get a little digital kitchen scale. I picked one up on Amazon. It's like $10. You can measure in pounds, grams. Like, you can tender it out. So you can put like a container on it, zero the container out, and then throw stuff in the container, and it'll just weigh what's inside. I use it all the time. It's super helpful. So pick up these things. Get in the habit of measuring your food. Get in the habit of tracking your food. I know, again, it sounds tedious, but after a couple weeks, you won't even think about it anymore. And then it'll become like almost an addiction thing. You're like, oh, I haven't tracked my calories. I need to make sure, I'm staying within range. And here's another reason this is so very helpful. Let's say you're abiding by a strict meal plan and you go off of it and you go out to eat and you're having some things that aren't in your meal plan. You can still allot for your calories. If you go to, let's say, Chili's and have a burger, well, guess what? You can plug in Chili's burger in the app and it'll pull it up, and you can see, oh shoot, that has this many calories in it, so I need to go light the rest of the day, or maybe I need to go light leading up to it to still stay within my calorie range. It keeps that perspective fresh. It keeps you aware of where you are at with your calories, and it's just so helpful. So I can't stress enough the importance of tracking your calories. So if you're not doing it, just Google free calorie counter apps. I listed a bunch at the beginning, but if you don't like any of those, there's tons out there. So get started with that today. With that being said, if you have not signed up for our text community, what are you waiting for? For real. You can literally text me at this number. You can text me questions. You can text me whatever. And I send out a few texts a week, just maybe some links to a new video or some fitness tips, or just to see how you're doing. It's a way for me to stay connected to you. So text the word podcast to 706-222-7551 and you will be joined. You'll get a couple of confirmation texts. Those are automated, just being a welcome message and hey, you're signed up. Remember, no matter what you're facing, what things you're striving to overcome, what roadblocks you're hitting, you can accomplish any goal you set your mind to. You've got this.